What's up guys, welcome to today's video. Today is going to be a watch, like a watch interview I guess with my dad. Something a little different. I've never really done like a podcast style video before, so this will be something new. Yeah, also another thing I wanted to touch on was my goal for this year. I've got like 3 or 4 goals. One is to take one photo every day for 365 days. It is day 19, which is going through my dad's watch collection. If you haven't, go over to my Instagram, check it out. That's going to be where my 365 day photo challenge is going to be posted over on, which will be Bradley Bissack. Be over in the link below. My second goal is to be starting a gaming channel, which I've already started. That's called BB Gaming 0011. Go check it out, go subscribe, go check out the first few videos that are up on there. Third goal is more consistent upload to those YouTube channels, which is going well. I've already filmed up to like March. And then the last thing is lose some weight. Just more of a personal goal, but I thought I'd share it over on here. Just to see kind of how it's more of like a personal kind of progress thing. But I think I might kind of weave it into some more videos. Just because it is kind of more of a personal thing. Something I've always been a little not happy with. So that's going to be another thing. Is hopefully try and get under 100 kilos this year, which is going strong, and I want to try and keep it there. Not get there and go, cool, I can let it go now. I want to try and consistently keep it at that point. So yeah, let's get into the video. Thank you all for coming out. Let's do it. Welcome. Okay, so today is going to be a video about my dad's watch collection. This is my dad, if it wasn't self-explanatory. First off, what watch are you wearing today?
I'm wearing my SEIKO Turtle that I've had for 10 years now.
Ooh, your gold one?
Yep, it's the first one I bought.
Awesome.
It's 10 years old this year. Got it in 2015.
Okay. So that's your first watch. What's the latest one that you've bought out of your whole collection?
That is this one. This is the CASIO DW5000R. It's the remake of the 1983 original DW5000, but that was a C. So this is like a brand new remake, just released end of 2024. And I was lucky enough to get one. They're not limited edition or anything, but you can't buy them anymore. They're really hard to come by. Yeah, cool watch. And they've even done the LCD exactly the way that the original one was done, where they separate the Sunday, it's right out to the left-hand side. Whereas all the new ones, this one, the LCD is similar, but it's the new format. So it's nice to have one that's made exactly the way the original one was back in 1983 when it was released. And a friend of mine actually got one of these given to him on his birthday by his mum and dad, and I was there at the birthday party and I was really jealous. I really wanted one, but couldn't afford $150 back in 1993. So yeah, a little bit of a, you know, I can afford it now because I'm older. But it's good that Casio made that. Even the bezels original doesn't have the big raised bit in the on where it says G-Shock and protection. That's raised like on all the new ones, and the band is original too because it has 3 layers of dots and it has these little indent markers for, I think that's, you know, for the keeper and that to catch on. Yeah, they don't make it like that either anymore. It's just flat. So it's kind of cool, and it's all metal wrapped in rubber or bioresin now. So yeah, cool watch.
Nice.
And not overly expensive either.
Okay, interesting. So what would be like the most expensive watch in your collection, do you think? Or like the most you paid for, or the most it's worth now?
Okay. Well, the most expensive watch is probably...
Cat's joining us.
Hey?
Cat's joining us.
Hey, Austin, what's your favourite watch? I know what he likes. He likes the ginger watch. All right, this is probably a bit of a tough one because there's a couple here that are worth a lot to buy when you first buy in retail. I'd probably say that it's a bit ironic because this is probably worth the most at the moment.
Yeah.
This is a SEIKO, I think it's SPB 077J1, which is basically just a SEIKO Marine Master 200. But I got this a few years ago now, probably 4 years ago. It was the most expensive watch, but I paid the cheapest for it. To give you an idea, like they're probably a couple of $1,000s to buy retail in the shops, and I paid only a few $100s for it. It was a bit of a error on the part of the jewelry place that was selling it. I don't think they quite knew what they were selling me. But anyway, and ironically enough, it's the watch I don't wear.
Yeah.
I don't wear it very much.
Yeah.
It's kind of like it's in pretty much brand new condition. Not a mark on it. There is nothing wrong with it. Hasn't been marked or used.
Yeah.
Maybe one day I'll sell it on. You know, I've got all the box and there's an extra band that comes with it, a silicone band.
Yeah, I find that with expensive watches, you don't want to wear them because you don't want to scratch them and ruin the condition they're in. Meanwhile, when you have, you know, your cheaper watches,
Yeah,
you
like this.
You don't care if you bang and bash them, you just call it patina. But
Yep.
Yeah, with your expensive ones, you don't want to damage them.
No, and I'm also like you know, a golden rule of watch collecting is don't buy anything hoping to flip it and make money on it. But the Marine Master one that I've got, it's kind of what I'm doing with it, even though I don't want to do it. I want to wear it, but I don't. I wear it for 5 minutes and put it away.
Yeah.
And then I'll grab one of my 2 turtles or, you know, whatever else I've got laying around. I've even got a Sumo, you know. This is the 3rd generation Sumo, SPB 101J1, I think is a reference number for this watch. There's a Gen 4 of these as well, which I think you've got the green one.
I think.
Yep, that's a Gen 4. Slightly different. Looks exactly the same, but it's slightly different. Yours doesn't have a border around the date.
Yeah.
And it has a loom pip next to the date, which this older model doesn't have. So this is the first one. But they're both sapphire and, you know, all the goodies. But again, I wear this one very rarely. And it's another one that was quite expensive. And I did actually pay full price for this one. But I don't wear it all that much. I'm not a big bracelet guy. So any watch that comes on a bracelet, I don't wear very often. I find I get, what do they call it? Wrist fatigue. So that's why if you look at my collection, some are on rubber, some are on NATOs. So yeah, you can kind of see it. So, you know, all the G-Shocks are all on their natural rubber. Frogman's always stay on their rubber. You can't change those out. These are 2 steel dives that I bought. And this one's on its original resin strap, but it weighs about 300 kilos. So trying to wear this thing on your wrist is not easy. This is a Willard they call it a homage, a Willard homage. It's a SEIKO Willard. Really good watch. Probably the most accurate mechanical watch that I have. And that's saying something because this only cost $100. And it's got ceramic, sapphire, NH, NH35 movement, which is basically just a 4R35 from SEIKO that they just sell on to third parties to put in their watches. So it's actually powered by a SEIKO movement. And it's almost 0 seconds a day you know, plus or minus. It runs perfect. I don't know how they did it. And then I have this one. This is a Citizen Pro Master. This is one of the new ones that they've just brought out. Full titanium, domed sapphire. It runs a high beat movement in it, so it's a 28,800 beats per hour movement, and it's not as accurate as my $100 cheap SEIKO watch. But this is anti-magnetic, and it's big and chunky, and it looks really good. So it's kind of cool. And interesting story with this one is when I bought it on the rubber strap, so it didn't come with its titanium bracelet, but I bought it on the rubber strap. And to give you an idea, I think in Australia to buy this on a bracelet is around $1,100 at the moment. You can get them a little bit cheaper when they're sales, but I decided to buy this from Japan on a rubber strap, and I paid 700 Australian dollars for it. And then I cheekily found a supplier that was selling the genuine Citizen titanium bands, and it was $150 delivered. So I got it a lot cheaper. And now I've got 2 bands. And you can put it on a NATO too, which is, it's hard because there's not much room between the lug and the spring bar, but it can be done. So that's it. So what else have we got? Oh, I've got a couple of 35th anniversary G-Shocks. So these ones are now, when did they come out? 2018, so they're a little bit older, but again, don't really wear these because they're quite collectible. So this one is a DW 5035, just means it's basically a 5,000, but the 35 is because it's, you know, 35th anniversary. All the back plate and everything is gold on this sucker. It says about the, you know, about it being 35th anniversary. So I bought that, and again, I never wear it. Don't know why. It's a really good watch to wear, but I don't wear that one. And then I bought its brother, which is the 5735, DW 5735, which is basically a round square. Same thing, full metal case, wrapped in rubber, all gold underneath, collectible. People are already flogging these things off on eBay for a lot more than they're worth. An exciting watch. Citizen Pro Master Aqualand. This is the second one of these I've got. I've got a genuine one from 1993, which, you know, doesn't work anymore, but I've still got it. I like to look at it, but I bought this one to replace it because, you know, it's much easier just to spend a few $100 and buy the replacement. So yeah, I like this watch. It's quite good. It's an anti-digi, full quartz. It's got a depth meter on it, stopwatch, you know, it does everything. I've already had to change a battery out in this. It's only 3 years old and it needed a battery last year. So it's like the V8 of watches. So not great on battery life, but it is what it is. So I've changed that out, and hopefully I'll get a couple of years before I've got to change it out again. I think Citizen need to take a leaf out of Casio's books, because Casio can build a watch like this one. This one's a 2001. This is the first reprint that was made after the original in 83. So after 83, there was a 10-year anniversary one, which is really hard to come by and very expensive. But I bought this one. It's a 2001, and it looks almost identical to the original one that we showed at the start of the video. But this one's only had 2 batteries in it. So in 20-something years, how good's my maths? 2001, how old are you? So it's about 21 years old, and it's had 2 batteries. So Citizen should do what Casio do. They have really efficient quartz movement. So, you know, these are stated to be replaced every 2 years, but most people get 10 to 15 years out of a CR, what is it? CR 2016, I think. Yeah, CR2016 is the battery that goes in this. Exactly the same battery that goes in the Citizen Pro Master, but this will last probably, because I don't use the light, I don't have it on alarm, and I don't wear it very much. I'll probably get 15 years before it needs to be replaced. But the Pro Master, every 2 years, like an oil change on a car, you're changing the battery on it. All right, so talk about them.
Can we just talk about that for a second? You've got all these nicer looking watches. You got these big bulky watches, and then you just got a calculator watch with tiny little buttons on it, just thrown into the mix.
Well, this is awesome. This is it's a Casio calculator watch. I think its reference is CW53. I'll hold it here so you can kind of have a bit of a look. you know, this is the most expensive watch you'll buy if you're 12 years old, because it's about $50 to buy on eBay. They still make them today. This is a watch that became famous because, this is a bit controversial, it became famous because in Back to the Future, Marty McFly wore apparently this watch, but he didn't. He wore the CR50, sorry, yeah, the CW50, which was released just before this one came out. But in Back to the Future 2, he wore this one, the 53. So you'll often see people refer to this as a Back to the Future watch, but it's Back to the Future 2 watch, because the original one looked similar, but it was a 50, not a 53. But awesome watch. I had one of these back in the 80s when I was a kid. I remember going to high school and someone actually sold it to me for like $5. And I liked it because it was nerdy, and you know, I was so cool at school that I had to have a nerd's watch because I wasn't a nerd. Yeah, so when this came back and they reissued and made these, I jumped out and bought it straight away. I think I got it from a surf shop. It was like $50. And I've had it now for, I don't know, 6-7 years, still on the same battery. And again, this doesn't have a light or anything, so, you know, it's pretty good on battery, and it's a Casio, so it's going to last ages on a battery. But it's awesome. Apart from the fact I've got an 8-inch wrist, and this is a 37 or 30, no, it's probably not even that, 35 millimeter watch. I normally like 45 is my golden wrists, golden size for my wrist, but I do like wearing that one. It's pretty cool. Not that I wear it very much. Yeah.
All right. Two more I'm looking at is that one. I know that's an interesting watch with an interesting movement in it, and then that one also. I always fancy that one.
Anyway, so this watch, this is interesting. Okay, so this is a SEIKO Paddy Kinetic Diver. SUN 065, I think is its reference number for everyone playing at home. It's a full diver tuner, SEIKO tuner diver's watch, 200 meters, ISO rated, but it has a kinetic movement in it, which is kind of not seen much anymore. About 20 years ago, kinetic movements became really, really popular because they're basically, if you think about an automatic watch and a quartz watch, melded together. So, you know, you have mechanical parts with a quartz activator that kind of keeps it regulated. So you get the benefits of a quartz watch. So it kind of sounds like I don't know where's your microphone? You'll hear it. It's really, really, it's got a loud rotor in it, but it spins like a electric generator, so to speak, inside that then charges up the battery. It's pretty cool. This is a fun watch. I bought this a few years back, just off a whim. I saw it on YouTube of all places, and I kind of went, wow, this is really cool. I love the colors. It's really big. Like, this is a 46, 47 millimeter watch. It weighs on a rubber strap, it weighs about 160 grams on a rubber strap. So don't put it on a bracelet. They weigh about 250 grams on a bracelet. You can get a bracelet version, but it's not for this color scheme. It's for the monochrome color scheme. Yeah, so going back, while you're wearing this, you know, like, it's charging the battery, keeping the power going on it. If you ever wonder how much battery's in it, there's a little button that comes on top here. So I'm not sure if you guys can catch that cool little button here on there. You just have to push that when it gets to either 6 or 12. And I think if you can get 30 seconds, I'll push it now, so you'll see the second hand moving. So right now, it moved a whole 30 seconds, which means it's got 6 months power reserve in it. If it only goes to 5 seconds, you've got about a day. If it goes to 10 seconds, you've got a month, you know, so on and so on. I think, you know, 15, 20 seconds, you've got about 3 months worth of charge in it. Because it's a lithium battery, don't let it run down too much, because you'll find you'll bugger the battery and have to replace it. So, you know, shake it all the time, even if you're not wearing it. Try to keep that power reserve up on it. It'll last forever. And this watch was made, I think, in 2016. 2017, so it's already quite a few years old, and I've already seen people having to replace the batteries on these kinetic ones because they just let them run down, you know. So yeah, but otherwise, awesome watch. I don't wear this one very much because it weighs a ton. I find my arm wants to fall off after half an hour of wearing it. But if I ever go diving and stuff or snorkeling, I'd definitely wear that because it's a really robust watch. And it's partially shrouded, you know, so you're protecting the bezel. It's got a sapphire crystal in it. Really hardy movement. One good thing about these quartz movements, you can bash them and bang them and drop them and abuse the living shit out of them. You won't break them and you won't magnetize them like you can on an automatic watch, which we won't go into that.
Yeah, we don't talk about magnetizing watches. I'm traumatized.
Yeah. This watch here, I only just bought this about 4 months ago. It is a SRPE 93K1. So basically it's just a black and white turtle. Nothing fancy. This is pretty much a direct copy of, I think, the 6309, but don't quote me. I like to just make shit up as I go along. But it's basically a turtle that was made in the 80s, late 70s to the mid 80s. They all looked very much like this, except for, you know, a few little on-dial things that were different. And I always wanted one that just looked exactly like the original, so I bought it. Came on a rubber strap, but I'm not a big fan of rubber because it sweats a lot, especially here in Queensland. It's quite hot. That's why my other turtle is also on a NATO strap. You know, keeps it nice and cool. But it's an awesome watch. You know, the K reference on it just means it's not made in Japan. It's made possibly Thailand, I think. But it's, you know, made in Japan. The parts are, but it's assembled in Thailand, which is exactly the same as this one, and it's lasted 10 years. Awesome just to be able to swap them around. If I don't want to wear, you know, the goldy flashy one, I can just wear the black and white monochrome one. It's really cool.
It's nice. I like that watch.
Yeah, it's different, and it's easy to read. Being black and white, it's not hard.
Yeah.
Now, probably the last one that I've still got a couple of froggies to talk about, but as far as the automatics, it's a Boulevard remake of a vintage watch they made in the late 60s and early 70s. They're called the Devil Diver or a Skin Diver. Awesome kind of watch, really nice to look at. It's got a big turtle case on it. It's got an acrylic insert in the bezel. The original one had acrylic bezel with an acrylic boxed acrylic glass. Yeah, can I say that? But this one they made it to look the same, but the glass is actually sapphire. So it's a domed boxed crystal. And I don't know, sometimes you can kind of get it in the right thing and you'll see it. It's kind of, see how it's top hatted, it's boxed. Yeah, so slightly raised. Real vintage vibes with this one. Very unique dial. Really good clicky action. So yeah, not like a Seiko. You know, it's a bezel all on its own, and unlike a Seiko, everything lines up absolutely 100% perfect. Sorry to bash Seiko so much, but get your shit together, boys. It's not hard. You know, the cheap Chinese guys can make everything line up, so you guys should be able to do it too. But I'm saying that it's only got an 8 series Beata movement in it, made by Citizen, because they own Boulevard, which, you know, if you watch YouTube and you watch videos enough, everyone says the same thing. But yeah, really good movement. It doesn't hack, but you can hand wind it and it's automatic. But it's actually quite, everyone bags the 8 series movements because they don't, you know, you can't hack them, but they're really accurate. And I think because they don't hack, they kind of last pretty long without needing servicing too, just like a lot of the Seikos. Unlike my Citizen high beat movement, which is going to have to be, you know, serviced every 3 or 4 years because it, you know, high beat means it works harder, so it's got to be serviced more regularly.
Love that.
Yeah. But out of these, are you gonna? Oh, hang on, frogmen. I've got to talk about my frogmen.
Yeah.
All right, so I have 2 frogmen in my collection. This one is I'm going to have to remember the reference number. It's a DW8200. So if anyone knows what that reference number is, that means this bad boy was made in 1996. The first frogman was made in 1993. Slightly different look about it, but this one is one of the real popular ones to get. Full titanium. So underneath the case, all that rubber is a titanium shell. You can see there, yeah. So it's got a titanium shell. It's not solar, no atomic timekeeping on these. These were really simple movements, but it does have a dive log feature on it, so you can monitor your dives. So, and it gives you interval times and when you can dive again if you're doing multiple dives in a day. But really, really hardy. So this watch is now coming up to almost 30 years old. It's still on its original resin strap, original bezel. Everything's original, bar, I'm guessing, the battery, because the batteries, they will last about 10 years in these, especially if you don't use all the features every day. If you do, you're going to be replacing it every few years. But great watch, super light. Even though it's really big, it's really light, really easy to wear. I don't wear this one very much because I'm trying to preserve all the rubber on it. At the moment, these are really hard to find, from eBay or online sellers. A lot of people don't have them, and if they do, they kind of got different bands or different bezels on them. They've been modded a little bit, but I like this one because it's really original.
Yeah.
And ironically enough, I think last year they made a 40th anniversary frog, which they're not 40 years old, but they just called it a 40th anniversary frogman. Very similar color scheme, but instead of all the reds, they've replaced it with gold. So it looks exactly like this, same dimension, same size, but it's very golden, and I don't know the reference number offhand because I don't care. But yeah, so this is my keeper. I like looking at this one, wear it occasionally inside the house, but I'm trying to keep it because, how cool is it to have a watch that was made in 1996 that's still running, and, you can still probably take this in the water too. I probably wouldn't go...
Is it original battery?
No.
No?
No.
Well, that's good.
Because I'd say this is probably on its third battery by now.
That's not bad though.
It's not bad.
That's like every 10 years, new battery.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
And they're really easy to change out too. The only thing is I bought a case back remover for this, but because this watch is off-centered, so if you look at the watch itself is not centered. It's everything's pushed over to one side. And when you wear it, it's really nice to have it on one side because all this, where your wrist is, doesn't affect anything with your wrist. It's all pushed over to that side. But yeah, ironically, when you try to open it with a case back removal tool that comes down and opens it, it doesn't want to open this. You've got to use a manual tool just because it's off center.
Yeah.
But I still managed to use my automatic tool to do it. I had to fluff around a little bit, but really easy. You can pop that off, take the gasket out, re-silicon the gasket, change the CR 2016 battery in it. It's an easy AC reset in these, and you have to do it. Just means you get a pair of metal tweezers and you touch the AC point and part of the battery, and it just resets the LCD. It's about as hard as it gets, and then you just got to reset the time and everything on it. Really, really cool. I'll put that one there for a sec. Now this one I bought, so this is a GWF 1000. This was made in 2011, but this one is atomic timekeeping, solar powered. Make sure I got it in there. Yeah, solar powered, full diver's frog. This one is quite good. It's the predecessor to that one, although this one is bigger and it's heavier. It's not titanium. It's stainless, DLC coated stainless steel. So under all that rubber and resin, it's a full stainless steel watch, quite heavy. I think this one on its own weighs like 121 grams, whereas this one weighs about 76 grams in titanium.
That's a big difference.
Big difference in weight. But it's a fun watch to wear. It does everything. Tells you your tide. So you can look at what your tide intervals are if you want to go for a swim or a surf. Has a moon phase feature on it, so you can see when the moon's going to be, what do they call it, full moon, new moon, waxing, waning, all the good stuff. And it does a predictive thing on it too. So, you can select your tides, and then you can use one of the buttons to cycle through to the next day even to find out when the tide's going to be high on a Tuesday or a Wednesday and when it's going to be low on a Monday. And
that's fancy.
So, yeah, and you can do that with the moon graph as well. This one does atomic timekeeping, which I think I've only got 2 watches in my collection that do atomic timekeeping. It just means it uses a radio signal to update the time on it. But in Australia, we don't have that feature here, so it's kind of useless.
Of course not.
But, if you travel with this and you go to Japan, if you select one of the Japanese transmitter towers, it'll sync straight away to it and it'll change the time, and it'll always be accurate to the second because it's, it has that feature, but can't use it in Australia. So that's really cool. But yeah, I like this watch, and it's on its original resin and everything as well. I have got I bought a whole new resin kit for this, but it's in navy blue. So, and I don't want to use it yet. So I figure when this one wears out and craps itself, I'm going to change it to a navy blue resin. So it's going to look like a brand new watch. You know, it'll feel like a brand new watch.
Navy blue will look good.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. So that's my Frogman collection, and I love the frogs. And because I've got an 8-inch wrist, it kind of suits my hand and, you know, my size a little bit better. What's your favourite watch in my collection, Brad? Do you have a favourite?
Oh.
If you had to pick one.
Okay. You already know it's not one of the Casios. I'm not a huge fan of Casio. Like I do like their watches. I even had one when I was in primary school. But
you're more of a stainless steel automatic kind of guy.
I like the weight, I like the look, the bezel. You can fidget with it. That's something I like. I'd probably have to go. Oh, this is a tough one.
Do you want me to say which one I think you like?
Go for it.
Okay, I think if I said to you, pick any watch in here and you can have it, you can keep it, I reckon you would probably gravitate to that one straight away.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks nice, it looks clean, but I feel like the price tag makes me not want to wear it, and I want to wear the watch.
Yeah.
I feel like that bad boy.
Oh, really? I wouldn't have picked you for a guy, but all right.
Yeah, I don't know. Something it just looks. I don't know.
It's cool.
It just is nice, and I've always loved the bezel. It is a bit softer and a bit spongier.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just and the blue. The blue is always.
Do you want to know a really interesting fact? No one on YouTube has ever talked about this feature because I don't think people are aware that this watch is built like this. Normally, when you get what's this kind of watch called? I'm trying to think. Sorry, it's got a special name. It's like a tuna can, like a tuna can style of watch. Normally, you have the watch underneath and the tuna can section goes on top and it gets screwed down like with these screws. This is the complete reverse of that. So this whole outer section of the watch is one piece and the actual watch itself is attached to the shroud. So you see how the shroud is part of the lugs? It's all one piece, where this is different. So this watch, the outer shell of it is just a shell. The band attaches to the inner part.
Yeah.
So does that kind of make a bit of sense?
Yeah.
It's really weird, but yeah. So if I was to take the shroud off this, I could take it off and you could still wear it.
Yeah.
You could still put this watch on. It would just look funny because it doesn't have a shroud on it. You can't do that with the Kinetic, because if you take the 3 screws out, the actual whole center of the watch falls out into your hand, and the band is still connected to all of this. So all of that's still connected.
Oh.
That is separate. And often people talk about, oh, look how they made it blue inside, because the whole body of this watch that comes out is blue.
Oh.
You just can't see it because it's shoved in there and then it's held together with screws. So
is the bezel connected to the body that is connected to the band, or the actual inner?
No. So if you drop this out, the bezel would come out with the watch.
Okay.
Yeah, it would just look.
That would have been real weird.
It would look really funny. This one, however, is different. This one, the bezel is attached to the shroud. Okay, so if you take the shroud off this Steel Dive Tuna Emperor that I bought, this one has 4 screws. If you undo the 4 screws, you can remove the shroud. And the funny thing is, the bezel would then just come off. The bezel is actually held on. You can kind of see there's like a little, it's kind of hard to kind of see it here. But yeah, the shroud holds the bezel onto the watch.
That's so weird.
So it doesn't click on. It's just sitting there.
Okay.
So if you take that off, you can go like this, the bezel would fall off. Oh. And there's a video of a fella who's done that. He's pulled one of these completely apart, and he's shown how he's taken it off. He spun the bezel, but then he just lifted the bezel off and put it to the side. So, and I think the original SEIKO Emperor tuners, or tuners in general, that were made like this back in the 70s and 80s, they were held on the same. Okay. So they used that shroud as a means of holding the bezel on. Yeah, this one's
Interesting.
not like that, but this is kind of quirky in itself too. So yeah, but I've never actually heard anyone say that with this. They all talk about the shroud as being a shroud, but it's not really a shroud. It's the actual body of the watch.
Yeah, it's like shroud look.
Yeah. So yeah, and if you take your 3 screws out, you can still wear this watch, but there would be a big hole there where the actual body of the watch.
A watch.
Yeah, which some people would probably like, but I don't. Yeah, so kind of really unique. And I'm hoping that this watch would last many lifetimes, because not much goes wrong with them. It is a dual movement inside here as well. So like an automatic watch, this has, I think, 6 joules in its movement, and the rest of it's quartz. So it kind of looks like an automatic watch when you take the back off and you start pulling it apart, but there's a little battery in there. Interesting fun fact about this watch too is there's a little I'm trying to think of the right term to call it. I don't know exactly, so I'm just going to make some shit up. It's like a spindle gear that attaches to the winder, and when that winder goes around and turns the spindle gear that's attached to the generator that creates the power, it actually levitates. It's magnetically levitated, so it doesn't need a jewel. So like if you get 2 magnets and you put the positive on positive, they levitate off each other. That's what the thing that spins at like 20,000, RPM per second or something. RPM. It's not RPM. It's RPS. If they didn't have it levitating, it would just burn itself out really fast. No joules would actually work on it. So it has to be levitating inside. So it's kind of like a magic trick inside it. And I saw someone pull one of these apart and show you it, and it doesn't look all that great, but if you just imagine that it's kind of hovering above what it should be, so as it's all spinning and creating electricity and voltage and stuff to power the battery, it's just levitating off another metal piece. Kind of cool. But I think kinetics are now a little bit out of vogue. No one really likes kinetics very much anymore, which is kind of a shame, because it's a hybrid. It's a hybrid.
It's a bit of
watch.
everything.
Yeah. I want a mechanical watch that's rough and tough and has accuracy of a quartz. We'll get a kinetic, but don't think they make them anymore. So now they do spring drive, which is a whole other segment.
If you could pick one, so if you had to sell your whole collection and keep one, what would it be?
Pretty easy. It'd be this one.
Okay.
The new one that I just bought.
You answered that pretty quick.
Yep. Because simple, tough, easy. I can fix these all day long if I have to. You can get rubber replacement bands, bezels. You can get full gasket sets for these. Really easy. It's an easy watch to wear too, because it's a large watch. It's 43 millimeters in diameter, which is kind of what people consider a large watch, but it wears small and it's really light. It's only 76 to 80 grams, so it feels really easy to wear, super accurate and super tough. You can bash this thing around all day. You can take it diving, you can take it to work, you can do all your abusive stuff to it, and you can, when the resin decides to give up the ghost, you spend 50 or 60 bucks and you buy a full resin kit for it and screw it all back on. It looks like a brand new watch again. Which is kind of, I think, what Kiku eBay back in 1983 was going for. He wanted something that you could treat roughly and then replace some of the rubber and it would look like a brand new watch. And it does, because all the bits that get marked up apart from the glass, is all covered. But I've seen these that are 40 years old and people have glass polished them and they come out really, really good. I suspect that's what happened to my other one too. I think when they resold this one in Japan, they might have, because the glass is like brand spanking new on it. It's as good as the new one, but it might have just been loved as well. Don't know. Yeah, no sapphire in those G-Shocks. Yeah, because sapphire's rough and hard. It's an 8 on the Mohs hardness scale or something. But if you hit it hard enough, it kind of explodes, which you don't want in a watch that's going to get mistreated. Yeah. Mineral is more tolerant.
Last question. What is your least favorite watch in your whole collection? So one that you would get rid of, or you just don't wear as much, or something you just don't like as much as the others. You still like it, obviously, because it's in the box, but you just don't like as much as the others.
All right, half a second to decide this one. Straight up.
Is it
This
because
one.
it's big, heavy, bulky?
Too friggin' heavy. I mean, the size
okay.
is fine, and this watch is beautiful, and that's why I bought it, because to buy an Emperor tuner today, in today's money, one that's, you know, equivalent to this one, you know, you're looking thousands of dollars, and they are worth it. They're worth every cent of it, but I don't have thousands of dollars to spend. This one's really unique because it has a monocoque, no, a mono block. My cock's a block. Oh, that's funny. Edit that out. So yeah, one piece case. No back plate on it. Nothing. Everything's loaded from the front. Really cool watch. Great for diving. But it's the weight. If this was titanium, 100% I could wear this every day, because this on its own weighs 170 or 180 grams just on its own.
They should do a titanium version. Have they done a titanium version?
SEIKO do. Most of these that SEIKO make are all titanium, and you'll see what they call the grandfather. I got a mind blank. What are these called again?
Tuna?
Yeah, grandfather tuna.
I was actually looking up getting one.
And they have a black ceramic shroud, but the whole inside is gold and it's titanium. And it's a special kind of titanium coloring that they put in it, so it's really cool. But there again, thousands of bucks to buy. Hence why I bought this one. This one was $200 Australian, delivered to your home. It's really cool, but it's just so heavy. I've tried wearing it a few times. It is so heavy.
Yeah.
I get wrist fatigue in like 2.5 minutes, and I have to take it off. I can't wear it anymore, and it looks funny because it's so big. It's, you know, it's 18 millimeters or something high. It's a really thick watch.
Yeah. See, when I got my Seiko Monster, I thought this thing it's huge, like it's tall, and then you started getting all these other watches that were really tall and really wide, and I was like, okay, never mind. I take that back.
The Monster's nice. A Monster you can wear as an everyday watch.
Yeah.
It's bigger than, you know, most of your other style of Seiko divers, but it's 100% wearable, and it's not too heavy. It's not going to kill you.
Yeah,
that is too heavy. The Paddy that we just talked about, the blue kinetic, it's not as heavy as that.
Yeah.
But it's after about an hour or two, you do feel it on your wrist.
Yeah.
You know, and to give you an idea, like this Citizen that I bought, the Pro Master, the high bit automatic one, this thing should weigh like 300 grams because it's, you know, it's 16 millimeters thick. It's really big and bulky. It's slab sided. It's got a full titanium bracelet. But if this was stainless steel, that would be 300 grams. I'm sure it would weigh at least 300 grams.
I feel like there's a reason they did that in titanium.
Yeah. But this weighs 155 grams. So you look at it and you think, holy moly, that's really heavy. And then you pick it up and go, oh, that's...
Yeah, it almost feels like
a
fake.
toy.
It feels, it almost feels like the insides are just straight plastic, and that it's just a plastic coated watch. It feels very unreal.
And that's the beauty of titanium. Super hard, super strong, fully anti-magnetic. All right, welcome back to the channel. Sorry.
Yeah, we've got to start from the beginning.
Yes, from what the whole thing.
No.
Anyway, so basically, titanium's light, stainless steel is heavy. It's what people like. I just want to say, if I've said anything in this video, or if I've made any comments about specifications,
Dish them out in the comments.
Yeah, I'm old. My memory's not great, and I like to make a bit of shit up every now and then too. So just take it all with a grain of salt. If you can't handle it, just, you know, suck it up, princess. You know, I'm a Gen X here, mate. I just call it as it is.
Oh wait, no, I'm a Gen Z. No, it's okay. This is a safe space.
Anyway, but I love watches. I'm gonna keep on collecting watches. I'm probably gonna sell a couple in the near future, just because, you know, I don't wear them, and it's not fair that I've got nice watches that I don't wear. So if someone really wants them, and, you know, I'll part with them, they can, you know, wear them and love them. But I kind of like more of the cheaper, more rugged tool watch. And I think the more scratches and stuff on it, I like them better that way. Bit of patina. Yeah, there's no such thing as a scratch or a mark. It's all patina, and it's all lovely, and that's kind of cool. Jump.
Jump up. There you go.
Oh, good boy.
There you go.
All right, Austin. Yeah. This is our watch cat.
Yeah, he's actually the decider of which watch we get.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Any other questions?
No, that's pretty much it. That's all I've got.
We can do a part B because I've got another watch too.
Yeah,
that I haven't
you've
shown.
got more.
Yeah.
True. All right. Well, we're gonna wrap it up there. Yeah, we can do a part 2, continuing the watches. We're running out of card space. We're running out of battery life. The cat has left. He's had enough of it. So we're gonna finish it up here. Thank you all for watching. Please consider liking, subscribing, doing all of that, commenting.
Or don't.
Yeah, or just don't.
Or don't.
Or just do. It's free. So
You
just
do if you want. Don't if you don't want. Just do it. You know.
It's like the button's right there. If you just scroll down.
Don't do it.
Just do
it's
it.
reverse psychology. You tell people not to do
Oh,
it.
yeah.
They're gonna do it.
Don't do it. This channel sucks. Worst channel you could ever subscribe to.
Yeah,
don't do
like
it.
us.
It's boring content.
Yeah. We don't even know what we're talking about.
Honestly, we just made stuff up this whole time.
I made all of this up. These aren't even my watches.
Yeah, but actually, we just went into Wallace Bishop. We just did a smash and grab.
Well, not really. We won't say the name of Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah.
But yeah, these aren't even my watches. I don't know who they belong to, but they looked kind of cool. There's some good color ones in here.
Yeah, we just made up everything.
And some are heavy.
Well, yeah. Well,
some aren't.
I don't even know what material that is. It looks like a plastic with a coating on it.
Probably plastic. It feels like
Kmart.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've been going for way too long anyway. So thank you all for watching. Again, like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. I'll see you in the next video next week, week after, whenever it is. Goodbye.
See you later. And sorry you had to look at my face. I would have preferred, like a podcast. We should do podcasts.
Yeah, no, nobody does podcasts.
I've got a great face for radio, so a podcast would be better. No one needs to look at this.
Who does podcasts these days? You do videos. People want to look at my sexiness.
Okay. I hope none of this gets cut out.
I'm putting it right at the end of the video.
All right.
That's where it belongs.
All right, great.